January and February at Epcot means the Festival of the Arts. Today, let's talk about the entertainment, the activities, the best foods we ate, and I'm going to share why I think the parks are just a little bit weird right now. Welcome to Pop Culture Passport, your ultimate guide to quirky and cool destinations across the US. I'm your host, Beth Scalacci, aka the Roman Yeti, here to help you dive into the world of theme parks, uncover film and TV locations, and explore quirky museums, roadside attractions, and legendary venues that capture the heart and soul of this unique country. So grab your pop culture passport and let's discover destinations that resonate with your interest, not just with what's trending on social media. Are you ready? Let's roam! Welcome back. We just got back from Epcot's Festival of the Arts, and I wanted to share our experience with you in case you have a trip scheduled there before it closes at the end of February, or if you just want to know if this is something you want to check out in the future, next year or beyond. This event debuted in 2017 and it makes it Epcot's newest festival. Now, based on the crowds, it has become very popular. It focuses on celebrating all the arts, visual, culinary, and performing. And while it was definitely cooler and rainier than we're used to this time of year, we still had a great time. So, let's first take a look at some of the activities you can participate in. The one really standout one to me is this paint by number mural that they have. I sort of think of it as like this community art project. So there's this huge mural. I don't know. I'm very bad at distance, but it's very long. It's only about 6 feet tall, so you can reach all the blocks, and it has blocks, and each block has a number in it. So this is a free event. You walk up, they hand you a paint cup and a brush, and then they tell you, the area to go in, and then the number that matches your paint. So you go and you paint in your little blocks, and when you're, just again, it's just this cool community art project. When you're done painting your contribution, you go and they hand you a bookmark of what that completed mural is going to look like. And it's just really fun, even if you don't participate in it. Sometimes the lines can get long. One time we walked by, there was plenty, like you could have walked right in and painted. But it's really cool to just walk by it at different times in the day, just to sort of watch the progress and watch this picture come to life. It's especially fun for non-artistic people like me to get involved in making really cool art. Now, for those who are a little more artistically inclined, you may want to check out the Animation Academy, and that takes place at the theater at the American Pavilion. According to the schedule, it looks like from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. And you can learn how to draw a Disney character from an animation artist. When we walked by, they were drawing Tigger, and it was just really fun to watch. Like, even if you don't participate, just sort of watching. It's a very zen, very relaxing experience too, to just sort of watch and listen to the artist talk about how to make these characters come to life. Now, our next one is Figment's Brush with the Master's Scavenger Hunt. Now, this is a paid activity, and your goal here is to find the piece of art in each country that has Figment hidden in it. We've done this in the past, and it's a fun way to just sort of roam around the countries between your food and your drink, and we'll take a look for our favorite purple dragon. You get a prize for completing the hunt. I believe this year it looked like stencils when we were there. Depending on demand, the price can change throughout the year as well. But it's just sort of a fun way to spend your time roaming the the countries. Now, if it's Disney, we got to talk about the merch. There's always a ton of merch. There's a new Figment popcorn bucket this year. He's sitting on top of a clear light bulb. That's what holds the popcorn. And yes, of course, the whole thing lights up. It's very cute. We did not come home with one of those this year. Um, if you're gonna buy a popcorn bucket, either don't make sure you have room in your in your luggage. I'm just gonna say that. Um, you have to be pretty strategic. depending on the size of the popcorn bucket. But there's also T-shirts, spirit jerseys. They had these nice journals, which was a new thing I've seen for events, so that was pretty. Pins. There were Loungefly bags. There were lug crossover bags that were really cute. And of course, ornaments. All had our favorite mascot of Epcot and the festival, Figment. So, whatever your merch desires are, you're probably gonna find it there for sure. They also had some really cool, simple, just new Epcot shirts, just sort of with a logo. Very cool. I did not need a new t-shirt. I was very good, and I didn't buy any. I think we bought two pins. So, um, yay me for staying on budget. I think we spent all our budget on food, to be honest. But next up, let's talk about visual arts. There are booths and booths of art from super talented artists, and most of them are Disney themed, but there are other things. There's one booth that had music performers and just had some beautiful, beautiful artwork. There are so many different styles from Thomas Kincaid, which most people are familiar with, to um, one of my favorite, which was this sort of retro futurist prints with Disney characters in them. I love them, and I did not buy any because I am out of wall space, and I just again, I was trying to not go crazy, but they just had this feel of the current posters and the marketing that we're seeing from the new Fantastic Four movie coming out this year. Those blues and whites and oranges and gorgeous, just gorgeous. But again, whatever your style is, they definitely had artwork for you. And to see some of the artwork that was taking place, you had to look down. They have these chalk art galleries, and they're sort of mind-blowing. They have these like 3D effect, and they felt like they were either coming up from the sidewalk or like sinking into it. Unfortunately, the rain kept the artist away a bit, but when it was available, it's mind-blowing, and the talent to be able to do that. And also just like to do something that's that intricate for it to be temporary, I mean, hats off to these guys. It was amazing work. There's also several photo opportunities, and the best way I'm going to describe them is that they look like a book that's been laid on its spine, um, because you walk into them. So, like, think about like a back cover, like the covers, and then there's no pages, and you walk into where the pages are. So then there's this background behind you, and then there's usually some kind of foreground art or characters, and it just looks like you walked into a scene. There is a scene from Mary Poppins with Tea Time with the Penguins, the forest scene from Sleeping Beauty, and then there's just like some art. There's a Mona Lisa by Da Vinci, the Scream by Munch, and so many more. Like it's a really unique and fun photo op. They've been doing these from the beginning. I remember the first year, and they're just adding on and changing them, and they make really cool photos. So definitely take advantage of that. Now there's that new Communicore area up near Spaceship Earth that has a lot of people have had opinions on, but it was used in such a great way. We'll talk about it a little more here, but there's a stage up there where there were artists creating pieces of art that you can, just hang out and watch. Now, the next kind of arts I'm going to talk about is performing arts, and that is probably some of my favorite offerings of this whole event. They're up in that Communicore Plaza, the outside area again. There's different musicians playing, and they've really created a nice relaxing area where you can just sort of enjoy whatever's going on, have some food, have some drink. They had one of the food booths there. So it's just a nice gathering spot that I'm really excited to see how they're going to use for other festivals. Like other festivals, there is a concert series for the Festival of the Arts. It's Disney on Broadway concert series starring performers from 30 years of Disney's Broadway shows. As a fan of Broadway, and especially all the Disney shows we've seen, these are so special. They get, these stars that Um, it's one thing to have perform, concerts and stuff and bands but they're like traveling. These people, like these are OBC, original Broadway cast from New York shows. And not everyone can get to New York to see these shows. So to have some of these stars perform, it's just so cool. We saw this time Patty Murin and John Riddle, and they were original Broadway cast Anna and Hans in Frozen. Last year we saw Patty with Casey Levy, who was the original Elsa on Broadway. So we had seen that show with the original cast. Um, so of course they're, sort of special in our heart, but to see them perform different songs and stuff, it was just really cool. Some other performers are Jelani Remy, Alton Fitzgerald White, and Kissy Simmons from The Lion King, Rodney Ingram, Michael James Scott, and Adam Jacobs from Aladdin, Josh Strickland from Tarzan, Ashley Brown from Mary Poppins, and last but certainly not least, the amazing Cara Lindsay from Newsies. The shows are so fun, like, and you don't have to, if you don't have to sit down in the stand. You can hear it from pretty much anywhere in the American Pavilion. So, like, we sat at the picnic table and had a little bite to eat and had a drink while we were listening, and it's just a nice, fun, chill experience. This year there's a new edition. It's called Once Upon a Stage, 30 Years of Disney on Broadway. That's located in this new Communicore building, which they built, and it's, when it's not being used, it's sort of just looks like a, conference hall kind of thing. But man, how it looked now, I hope they use this space for all festivals the way they did for this exhibit. The exhibit featured costumes and props from 30 years of Broadway shows. It has a setup that, like, it looked like you were in the costume shop for Aladdin. It had costume and mask from The Lion King. It had costumes from almost all the shows. And just being able to see up close and noticing details that you would never see while they're on stage, unless you're like in front row seats. And we are never in front row seats for Broadway shows. So being able to see these things so up close, and the details, the printing press from Newsies was right there next to Catherine's costume worn by, again, the fabulous Cara Lindsay. And I know costumes are a little extra important in this family, but I mean, it was just so cool to see so many people excited to be able to experience them up close and notice the love and hard work that goes into these productions. They also had the miniature, like, set models, the work that these set builders and designers do. It was really cool. So I love anytime we can see the behind the scenes stuff and make people appreciate what goes in into these performances. Okay, let's get into the food. I know that's why a lot of you are here. And that's one of the main reasons to go to these festivals. We had scouted out the menus before getting to the parks, because I just wanted an idea of some of the things I definitely wanted to try. When we got there, first thing I grab is one of the festival passports as we enter the park. I did have to laugh this year because, there's the whole thing of when you enter World Showcase, everyone's like, if you don't turn left, you're doing it wrong. Like, turn left into Mexico. And usually the festival passports follow that direction, so you can just sort of go from country to country. Oh, no, not this year. They they got creative, I guess, for Festival of the Arts, and it turned right towards Canada. I wasn't paying attention to the passport. We turned left, and then when I was trying to find, something in the China pavilion in the passport, I had the hardest time. But for this recap, I'm going to follow the passport. We're going to turn right first because that's how my notes were in there. Um, so we started before we even got into the World Showcase, the Craftsman Courtyard, was located in the walkway between Imagination Pavilion and World Showcase. I tried something called the Beef Wellington inspired Croissant Supreme. That's a mouthful. This thing had cream spinach croissant pinwheel, a mushroom gorgonzola ragu, mustard grilled flank steak, a red wine sauce, and pickled mustard seeds. And it was good. Very good. John had the mussels there. He said they were slightly overcooked, which sort of makes sense because they're sitting there in this broth, but he said the broth was really good and he enjoyed them. Um, in Japan, we tried the taiyaki, which is a crispy, flaky fish-shaped pastry filled with sweet red bean and a wagyu bun, which was a steamed bun filled with American wagyu beef. In America, we had the deconstructed chicken pot pie and deviled egg trio. In Italy, we tried all three things. It was a fried mozzarella, a tricolor they called it, but it was three raviolis with three different sauces, and then a hazelnut s'more cannoli. In Germany, we had the red wine braised beef short ribs that was served with a parsnip puree. And in China, again, we had all three things there. There was a General Tso's sumai dumplings, a hargao shrimp dumpling, and a Hong Kong egg tart. And then finishing up, we did this in 2 different days. I don't want you to think we we went crazy. At Figment's Inspiration Station at the Odyssey, we tried the raspberry pastry tart and the rainbow cake. So, what were our favorites? Now, I'm going to tell you, this all sort of surprised me. So, I'm going to do top three savory and top three sweet. So, top three savory were the Wagyu beef bun in Japan. It was so good. Um, Forget the cheeseburger pods in Pandora. These were it. The beef Wellington was just so good. And the deconstructed chicken pot pie, I wasn't even gonna try. I went there for the trio of deviled eggs. Ended up getting the pot pie because I was sort of hungry and I was intrigued by it. And it was so good. I'm so glad I did it. Just very, very inventive, very different, very good. Top three sweets were the raspberry pastry tart. The Hong Kong egg tart was delicious, and the taiyaki fish pastry from Japan was so good. Really, really enjoyed those. Like I said, everything else was good, but if I had to pick a bottom three, I would say the deviled egg trio just sort of disappointed. It when we had it, it just wasn't very flavorful. Like I said, we went to the booth in America for that and ended up loving the chicken pot pie. The raviolis with the different sauces, they were fine, they were good, they just weren't anything super exciting. And the hargao shrimp dumpling in um China was good. It was cold. Um I don't know if it was supposed to be. I think I would have preferred it warm. Um I'm not really sure what happened there, but it tasted good. It just wasn't my favorite, but there are so that's like a sampling of some of the booths and foods to try there. So there's definitely something for everyone. Like, you know, don't eat before you go, pack your stretchy pants. The nice thing is they're not huge servings. You can split them so you can try a lot. But I definitely recommend preparing a little bit. Now, the festival runs from January 17th and it goes until February 24th this year. So you still have some time to check it out or put it into your plans for next year. It's usually around the same times. Um, as with any of the Epcot festivals, they're going to tend to be more crowded on the weekends. So, maybe plan to visit on a weekday if at all possible. I have to say, this is still my favorite festival. From the entertainment to the food, I just like it the best of all of them. The artwork everywhere just gives off that creative vibe, and it just really resonates with me. Um, don't really have a full explanation for it, but it's just, I like it. It's my thing. I'm so glad we got to experience it again this year, and the weather did not cooperate. Like, guys, I wear my, like, I don't have a heavy winter coat. I just have like a little lightweight puffer jacket type thing. I wore it the whole week with jeans. Like, I was cold. It was, it was normal. Like, being from Maryland, the temperature in Florida was like our normal winter temperature at home. Like, it was crazy. But we still had a good time. And I really hope that this festival continues and it continues to evolve in the years to come. So on today's Yeti's Pop pick, I just want to share with you that the parks to me right now, it's weird. That's the only way I can explain it. So we were in Hollywood Studios when we heard about the closing date for Muppet Vision. We had already gone. That was one of my priorities at Hollywood Studios, so we made sure we did it pretty early in the day. And we got the announcement that June 7th of this year will be the last day to see Muppet Vision. So we promptly went back, and a lot of other people must have saw the news as well because it was much more crowded at that time. Now, I am really looking forward to seeing what they do with Monsters Inc. I love the characters from Monsters Inc. I love that movie, but at the same time, I'm sad to see the last project that Jim Henson worked on go away. And like I said, it made me really realize how weird all the parks are right now. It's probably just a me thing. I don't know. I would love to hear if you've been in the parks lately. Please let me know what you think. Um, for some of us, change at the parks is really hard. I think we have memories, such fond memories, and we're tied to those memories and the backstories and the history of the rides and the parks. And even if we didn't ride on something that is closing, it doesn't mean we didn't understand why other people loved it, or how it even ties into the rest of the park. There's just so much change and transition that will totally transform how some parks are going to look. Like, for example, I spent time at Frontierland and Magic Kingdom, and just looking at how it ties into, Frontierland from Big Thunder Mountain and into Liberty Square and the Haunted Mansion. Like, how is that gonna look when the new Cars ride goes in? Again, I love Cars. I'm very excited for a new ride, but that part of the park will look totally different. Um, so it's just sort of a weird feeling to know these big changes are coming. Um, I'm looking forward to them, but again, I'm a little sad, and I think the transition time's gonna be, just weird. That's the only word I can come up with, so sorry about that. I will leave on a positive note. I will leave you with Walt's quote that I keep reminding myself about change at the parks, and that's Disneyland, and I'm gonna say Disney World as well. Disneyland will never be completed. It will continue to grow as long as there is imagination left in the world. So I guess my positive here is I'm going to be glad that there is still imagination left in this world, and we are going to continue to evolve. So that's my little my little moment for the day. And with that, we add another stamp to our pop culture passport. I hope that this episode inspires you to get out and explore all that is quirky and cool, even in your own backyard. So please follow, download, subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. Tell a friend and leave a review if you like what we're doing. It really helps the show to grow. You can also follow me on Instagram or Facebook. Just search for The Roaming Yeti. Keep roaming and finding your fun.